All right, everyone. So today we have Shari, and she's done a lot. She's been through a lot. She has an amazing story, and she just wrote a new book. Sorry, and I'm really excited to talk to her again. So, Shari, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, my name is Shari Bookstaff, and I actually work at a community college near San Francisco. I teach biology there, and I've been working there since 1990, so for a long time. And then I'm a marine biologist specializing in whales and dolphins, so I have the whale necklace. And
Awesome.
back in 2006, I had a brain tumor that was supposed to be easily removed, but I had a stroke right after the surgery. So I was in the hospital for almost 9 months. And then that really changed my life and just I've been recovering ever since. But I did go
Yeah.
back to teaching and back to, studying whales. And I did write a book about my whole experience, which is the book that you see right here.
So that's when life throws you lemons, make
cranberry juice.
cranberry juice. I
Yeah,
like
when I
that.
first make cranberry juice. And that came as a a kind of a sarcastic twist on when life throws you lemons, make lemonade, which is what people
Yeah.
always say to you.
Yeah.
And it was really annoying when people would say those platitudes to me. So I kind of made fun of that in my book. And my book does make fun of a lot of things. It's
Yeah.
not just the serious. It does include the serious part of what I went through, but it also includes a lot of just funny things that happened that I went through too.
Well, I think that's really good, because if we're always serious all the time, well, life is just not enjoyable.
Right, it's
So
not funny.
yeah, when you can take like a negative situation, like your brain tumor, and laugh about a few things here and there, I think it's really gonna help your audience connect to you and who you
Oh yeah.
are.
Yeah, I mean, I found that making fun of myself and laughing about things was a great way to make other people feel more at ease around me.
I
Like
agree.
if I fall, I laugh. I mean,
Yeah.
it's funny when I fall. It's funny when I'm the only one affected by the wind. Everyone around me
Right.
is not affected by the wind. So I,
Yep.
I think stuff like that is funny. So I'll laugh
Yeah.
and then they'll laugh.
I agree with you 100% because, like, for me, growing up, I have cerebral palsy. So for me, it was always better to crack a joke about myself to like somebody that I just
Right,
met
right.
because it takes the edge off. It makes them feel more comfortable. Because I know I'm different. I understand that, but like I just want people to know, like, I understand it, so you're not gonna say anything to offend me. I've heard it all, so
I've
let's
heard it
just
all, I
have
guess.
fun. Yeah, exactly. I've heard it all. Let's just have some fun. And honestly, I think that's a lot of why I didn't get bullied in school, because like if people tried, I would just make fun of myself
Yeah,
before they had the chance. You know.
right. And I never know the chance, yes.
Yep. Exactly. So, with your background in marine biology, that's really exciting. Do you want to share a couple of things about that?
Sure, everybody always wants to know more about that than anything
Yeah.
else. But
Yeah.
I grew up in Wisconsin, which is not
Okay.
anywhere near an ocean. So
No.
I studied biology and zoology in undergrad and came out to California for graduate school where I really started focusing on marine mammals. But I got seasick. So
Mm.
here I was, a biologist from Wisconsin, loves whales, but gets seasick. I couldn't really work on a boat. And that's how I kind of got into teaching. But
Mhm.
I did realize that I do love teaching. So I
Mhm.
got into teaching, but I realized also when you're teaching college level biology, you can use any examples you want. So I would find a way to weave whales and dolphins into everything that I talked about with my students. And
Yeah.
I had students doing special projects having to do with whales and dolphins. So I always find a way to get that in there, even though I couldn't,
Mhm.
go on remote and do research. So that was always really fun. And I've
Mhm.
done things like gotten students to collect some whale bones and preserved them. I've got some whale baleen that I still use for some of my presentations. And, so I still am connected to the kind of the whale community. I go to
Yeah,
some conferences and things like that. I go whale watching a lot.
that's really cool.
So,
That's really
yeah.
cool. Awesome. And then when it comes to your book, what is your goal with your book? Like, what would you like people to take away?
Well, I mean, two parts. I actually wrote two editions of the book. The first one I wrote back in 2009, published
Oh,
in
okay.
2010, so it was really fresh. So it was
Mm-hmm.
right after my recovery, and then I updated it in 2020. So the book really does take you through a journey of my life and then my recovery, and I want people to know that there is the other side of the tunnel, that there is a way to
Mm-hmm.
come out the other side, and you can go through some really, really dark times and come back out the other side. And the update in 2020 includes a lot of things that I've gotten into. One of the main things that I've done with my experience, I really wanted to find a way to turn my experience into something that may had a bigger impact on, society. So what
Yeah.
I started doing is I started talking to medical professionals and healthcare students about connecting with their patients by expressing empathy. And I
Mm-hmm.
really got into this whole, expressing empathy and patient connections, because that is so important to have your patients trust you so that they do what you tell them to do, and they're more cooperative in what any procedures you want to do. So because that patient empathy is so important, I really made it a mission of mine to go out and talk about that as much as I can.
I love that. That's amazing. And I'm looking forward to reading your book.
Okay.
I know we talked about last time, and I'm looking forward to reading it. And because just from the last time that we talked, your story really touched me a lot because my dad also had a brain tumor.
Oh, yeah.
So I definitely understand, some of the things that you went through. So I think it would be really good for me to read your story. And, with my dad, you know, he got his first brain tumor, well, 2000, 2001, I think.
That's
And
one.
that one was non-cancerous. So they were able to just go in and remove it. He didn't really have any side effects or anything that happened. But then about eight 8 years ago, 9 years ago now. It's kind of hard to keep track of
Yeah.
everything, but he got diagnosed again with a brain tumor, and that one was cancerous.
Oh,
And they actually gave him only 5 months to live, and he actually lived another 5 years. He was really fighting, but I lost
yeah.
my dad in September of 2019. So
I'm so sorry.
yeah, your story really it touched me. So that's
Yeah, mine was not cancerous. They
mhm,
actually thought they could remove it with no side effects, and no, I wouldn't need therapy or anything. But
yeah,
again, something went wrong. So,
mhm, yeah.
you know,
And then my grandma had moya moya.
okay.
That's a brain. I can't remember how to explain it. It's like a tumor, but with her, when she had her surgery, they knocked out her speech. So basically,
Oh, wow.
since 1991, right after I was born, she hasn't
She
really
couldn't
been
talk.
able to talk. Yeah. So,
Wow.
but she's still around. She's still amazing, and but yeah, I mean, so yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely been touched by a lot of that.
Yes. When you mess with the brain, there's so much the brain does.
Yep.
There's so much we don't know about the brain. So it's
Mhm. Yep, exactly. And then what is a piece of advice for someone going through something as traumatic like you did? What is something that you think would help them?
I would say don't read all the horror stories because
Mm,
that's going to get in your head. And, like
yep.
I tell people who are about to have a baby, because I've had some complications with that. So I'm like, I'm not going to tell you about my story yet.
Mhm,
Don't read all the horror stories because most of the time, if the doctor tells you it's going to be fine, most of the time it is going to be fine. And in
mhm,
hindsight, my doctors really drilled into me that it was going to be fine. And
mhm,
at first, it made me a little angry because I'm like, they didn't prepare me at all. But I don't know
yeah,
what I would have done. I don't know how I would have prepared my kids for
mhm,
this. There was nothing I
yeah,
could do to prepare for this. So I think
no,
reassuring them that everything was going to be okay, because that's what doctors told me. I think that you have to avoid all the horror stories because there's always going to be people who want to share that with you, share the horror
yep,
stories with you. So know that you can come out the other end. It's going to be really tough, probably
mhm,
the hardest thing you'll ever have to do, but you can get through it. And you have to rely on
yeah,
your friends. Don't be afraid to ask your friends for help. And
mhm,
don't be afraid to accept it when they offer. That
mhm,
was a huge thing. That most people who suddenly lose their independence
mhm,
don't want to either ask for help and they don't want to accept it when someone offers. And if somebody offers to help you, assume they mean it because they probably do. And,
mhm,
accept it because it actually does help the friends who are helping because it gives them something to do. They all want to help. They don't know what to do to help. So let them help you. Come up
mhm,
with a list of things people can do for you, whether it's
yep,
going to the store or cleaning your house or whatever it is they can help with, just company.
mhm.
Don't be afraid to ask for help and accept it. We all
I
need help.
agree. Mhm.
Yeah,
And yeah, sometimes it is really hard to ask for help. A
it is
lot
really
of us struggle with that, but it's like you have to like you can't go at this alone. You
you
have
can't
to
go at it
have your
alone.
people.
Right. Think about what if the situation was reversed, would you want to help your friend? And how, wouldn't that make you feel good to help your friend? So let
Mhm,
them feel good by helping you. And
mhm.
that's part of it. Is that you're not just taking, you're giving them
Yeah,
something too.
yeah, exactly. I agree.
And I think that's really important.
Mhm. Thank you for sharing that. That was really helpful to me, and I know my listeners also.
Oh, good, because I think that's really important and really something that's hard for people to do. You
Hmm.
don't want to feel needy, but
Yeah.
at some point in life, everybody's needy.
Hmm.
Maybe it's your turn, to be
Yeah.
needy. It's okay.
Yeah. It is okay. And then my slogan is your abilities are infinite. What
Yes.
does that mean to you?
What does that mean to me? That means that part of what that means to me is that if I say I can't do something, it means I don't really want to do it. Like if I say, oh, I can't cook because of
Yeah.
my disability. Well, that's not true. I just don't
No.
want. I don't like cooking. If I loved
Me
cooking,
either.
I'd be able to cook. You
Yep.
know, you might say I can't go whale watching because of my disability, but I still do that.
Hmm.
So anything that I really want to do, I still find a way to do it.
Hmm.
Yes, there are some limitations. There's some things that I couldn't really do, but there's so many things that you can do. So I'd say focus on the things that you can do
Hmm.
and don't focus on those things. Everybody has limitations.
Hmm.
You know, how many of you out there in podcast land can kick a field goal? On a
I
football
can't.
team. I can't. I mean, most people can't. Some of the
Yep.
professional football players can't.
Yep.
But you can do other things. So don't
Hmm.
focus on what you cannot do. Focus on what you can do. So that inspires me too. Like, watching sports
Hmm.
sometimes does really inspire me because you get to thinking of things like that. Like, I can't make that basket from a 3-point land like Steph Curry can,
Hmm.
but who else who can? There are not that many people in the world who can do that.
Yeah.
So there are things that you can do and things that you cannot do. But, if you want it, go for it. Anything
If
you
you
want
want
to
it,
try to do, if you want to do it,
if you want it, go for it. Incredible. Awesome.
go for
And
it.
then how can people find you and find your book?
Well, I started a business where I do go out and talk to medical professionals, and it's called
Okay.
Impact of Empathy. So if you go to Impact of Empathy, all one word, impactofempathy.net, you can find my book there. You can learn more about the services that I provide. So if anybody out there works at a hospital, I'd love to come talk to hospitals. I can do it either on Zoom or in person if you're in the San Francisco Bay Area. But yeah, you can definitely learn more about everything at Impact of Empathy.
Awesome. 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 And then do you have any last words of wisdom?
Last words of wisdom. I'll think of something smart. Let's see. Always be funny, Like, yeah, you can't
Yeah.
think of. Oh, one thing that I do want to mention, and I'm not sure if you know about this, Nick, already or not, but there's a group of exercise people called Staying Driven, led by Steph Hammerman, who actually
Hmm.
has Steph Hammerman Roach, who has cerebral palsy. She was the world's first CrossFit level 2, I might be getting this wrong, level 2 trainer with cerebral palsy. And she runs
Good.
an online workout community called Staying Driven. And if you go to Staying Driven Live, and I have to plug this because I do this every day, I do this workout. And it's a great workout that's similar to CrossFit, but it's for anybody with any ability. There's a great variety of people in this class. And the instructions are great at they're kind of easy on you the first day, but after the first day, they're like, you could do that. You don't think they can really see you because you're on Zoom, but they notice everything. And they tell you, you're standing up. You can do more than that, So
Yeah.
they really do push you, and it's a great community. So I highly recommend Staying Driven Live as my final words of wisdom.
Thank you, because I'm definitely going to check that out.
Check that
So,
out. Yes, I
because
would.
I love working out every day. So if I can,
Yes, I
do
like that class.
it in a group, in a class, that'd be
Do it a
even
group,
better.
and it's a different
Yeah.
workout every day. Some are harder
Yeah.
than others, and it's a great community, Staying Driven Live. And if you go there, tell Coach Steph that I sent you.
All right. We'll
'Cause I'd
do.
like her to know I'm pushing it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. This was so
You're so
helpful.
welcome. Thank you.